A very good evening, Zimbabwe. Welcome to LiveTalk. We're coming to you live from Studio 7 at the Voice of America in Washington this Monday, May the 22nd, 2023. I'm your host, Marvelous Mhlanga Nyahuye. And tonight on LiveTalk, we're discussing about the high cost of living in Zimbabwe at a time when the local currency is losing its value against the United States dollar. But before we delve into our main topic, let's take a look at what is happening in the United States. Wrapping up a three-day summit with allies of the Group of Seven leading democracies in Japan, U.S. President Joe Biden sought to reassure Beijing that conflict with the West is avoidable. Even as the G7 ramps up a pressure to push back against China's rising military and economic security threats, White House Bureau Chief Patsy Widakuswara traveled with the president. Here's her report.
As G7 leaders conclude their three-day summit in Hiroshima, Japan, with a denunciation of China's rising military and economic security threats, U.S. President Joe Biden sought to reassure Beijing that the group does not seek conflict. At the same time, he issued a warning for China not to invade Taiwan.
There is clear understanding among most of our allies that, in fact, if China were to act unilaterally, there would be a response.
Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky made a surprise appearance at the summit, invited by G7 host Japanese Prime Minister Fumio Kishida.
By inviting President Zelensky to Japan, we demonstrated the unwavering solidarity of the G7 with Ukraine, and the G7 reaffirmed the importance of the free and open international order based on the rule of law.
Zelensky met G7 and other invited leaders, including Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi, who has refused to condemn Russia's invasion. Zelensky thanked the G7 for agreeing to provide U.S.-made F-16 fighter jets to Ukraine and for their decision to train Ukrainian pilots to fly them.
I'm very happy. Thank you very much. Thanks to our partners. It really will help our society, our people, to save houses, families.
In a sign of warming relations between America's two closest allies in Asia, on the summit sidelines, Biden met with Kishida and President Yoon Suk-yeol, the leader of South Korea. They discussed North Korea's nuclear threat and China's rising assertiveness, two regional threats that have aligned the three countries closer.
I hope South Korea and Japan will have stronger cooperation on issues on the global agenda like economic security.
Biden returned to Washington Sunday to deal with negotiations on raising the U.S. debt ceiling to avoid the country going into default. Patsy Widakuswara, VOA News, Hiroshima.
And back to our main topic, the prices of basic commodities have been spiraling daily, with many households saying they are no longer able to sustain their families as they are paid in local currency, while some merchants are selling their goods in United States dollars. In his weekly column in the state-owned newspaper, The Sunday Mail, President Emmerson Mnangagwa issued a stern warning against unscrupulous shop owners who were breaking the law of the country. He said his government would go to any lengths to ensure that those found flouting proper pricing procedures would be dealt with severely. The country's central bank has been taking various measures which it says will help stabilize the local currency against the United States dollar. On May 8th, the central bank launched a gold-backed digital token as a way to stabilize the local currency. But analysts say the government-controlled foreign exchange market is fueling the problem. Meanwhile, the black market continues to operate despite the government outlawing it. There is a huge discrepancy between the official bank rate and the black market rate. The bank rate is $1 to Zimbabwean dollar, 1,430, and on the black market, the dollar is trading at between Zimbabwe dollar 2,800 and a Zimbabwe dollar 3.5, depending on where you are. The rates may be higher in Harare. This was in Bulawayo, which has led to businesses also increasing their prices as some of them source their money on the black market. People in banks and markets, world-renowned economist with Johns Hopkins University Professor Steve Hanke ranks Zimbabwe as the most miserable country to live due to the runaway inflation. Some business owners in the country's second largest city, Bulawayo, say they have been hard hit by the different exchange rates as the Zimbabwe dollar continues to lose value. Businesswoman Patience Ndlovu speaks to Studio 7 reporter Ezra Sibanda on what her business is facing minute by minute as they try to make it.
Hello, what's your name?
I'm fine, how are you? My name is Patience Ndlovu.
Yes, Patience Ndlovu. I can see you are running hospitality industry. Tell us the problems we are having, especially about the exchange rates.
Okay, we are having a big challenge because some of our customers, they turn back saying the rate has gone up. They can't afford to pay. Let's say, for example, these days the dollar is at 4,000 RTGS. A plate of salsa at $5. That's 20,000. So it's hard. It's hard. It's affecting our businesses a lot.
So at the moment, are you accepting the RTGS, the swipe, or you are just accepting foreign currency only?
At first, we stopped accepting RTGS, but then we saw that a lot of customers go away because of that. So we've decided to accept the RTGS again because we've got no choice. We end up losing customers if we say we're no longer taking RTGS.
So basically your exchange rate, they differ every day?
They differ every day. They go high every day. So we use those RTGS to pay rates, water, electricity bills. That's the only use of the RTGS nowadays, because it's hard for you to go and stock. People will tell you we need US dollars or rands. They don't accept RTGS where we are stocking.
Okay, so basically when you order your stuff, they will need foreign currency. They don't accept Zimbabwean local currency.
Yes, they don't accept.
So when we try to pass it to the customers, they complain.
They complain. They don't understand. If we try to tell them that wherever we are ordering, they are not accepting the RTGS, but they don't understand. They just turn back, go away, and say, they also tell us that is what they have. They are paid in RTGS. There's nothing they can do. But at the same time, it's difficult for us to say no, because they end up going forever thinking we don't want money or anything else, but it's hard. It has affected the business so much.
That there was businesswoman Patience Ndlovu speaking to Studio 7 reporter Ezra Sibanda in Bulawayo. Let us now take a short break. Stay tuned, please. Don't go away.
In times of change, when the world seems uncertain and what we hear doesn't reflect what we see, we seek the truth. When we are told only part of the story, we lose trust. In moments of crisis, our dreams, hopes, and wishes for a better tomorrow depends on a free press. At Voice of America, we bring you the stories that people take risks to see. We connect the world and unite it with truth. At Voice of America, we show you the whole picture.
For those that have just joined us, please note that we are streaming live on all our Facebook pages. Please visit VOA Shona, VOA Studio 7, and VOA Ndebele. We're also live on YouTube at VOA Zimbabwe. And to discuss about the economy, we have economist Professor Elliot Masocha. We also have Mr. Masimba Kuchera and Mr. Rejoice Ngwenya. But I understand we'll start off with Professor Elliot Masocha, who is today speaking to us from Zimbabwe. Welcome to the program, and he's speaking to us via Skype. Welcome to the program, Professor Masocha. Please give us an intake into what are you seeing on the ground when it comes to the economy.
Thank you for having me. What I'm seeing on the ground is what I can say it's pain and suffering in terms of, the economy in Zimbabwe and affordability of products. Because looking at the Zimbabwean dollar, that the majority of civil servants are getting part of their salary, and when they go to shop, wherever they go, it seems like business owners and anybody who is selling anything anywhere in the streets, they are preferring the US dollar. Mm-hmm. That demand for the US dollar has made, the US dollar to strengthen and weakening the Zimbabwean dollar, because there are not enough of US dollars for everybody. Not everybody can access US dollars from the Reserve Bank's auction system. And then even those businesses that that go to the auctions, they are not given their money right on the spot. They will also send people in the streets to compete for the few US dollars that are there, and thereby making the US dollar's value strengthen and weakening the Zimbabwean dollar. So because businesses are getting their the US dollar to resupply their stocks from the black market, they will go and increase their prices, but salaries are not increasing at all. So it's very, very much difficult. You're looking at a 10 kg of roller mill going for 28,000 Zimbabwean dollars, but how much is somebody paid per month? That's the problem I'm seeing. And then the other biggest problem I'm seeing that I've always talked about is lack of consumer confidence, because measures after measures that have been passed by the government, they seem not to involve the majority of the Zimbabwean people who in reality are owners of the Zimbabwean dollar. Those owners of the Zimbabwean dollar, they are rejecting it because the Zimbabwean dollar is not keeping value that has been promised by the government by passing measures after measures that include gold coins. That really never changed much in terms of the strength of the Zimbabwean dollar.
Thank you so much there, Professor Elliot Masocha. Regai tiende kunava masimba kuchera. Muri kunzwa zviri kutaurwa nava Masocha. Imi magara murimo muZimbabwe. Zvakamira sei zvinhu pari zvino? Tiri kuona takaona mutungamiri wenyika vaMnangagwa vachiti ivo vachange vari kuomesera vanhu, vari kungokwidza mitengo zvisina tsaruko. Zvingabatsira here izvi?
Zvatiri kuona ndezvekuti mitengo iri kukwira. Pane gap rakakura pakati pe rate yeZimbabwean dollar tichishandisa official rate ne-black market rate. Black market rate iyoyo ine marate maviri. Kune rate avo vane mari dzemumhepo, kozoita rate yevanhu vane mari yecash. Saka kana uine cash rate rako rakati dzikirei kudarika kana une yavanoti RTGS. Nyaya yehurumende inogara ichitiudza kuti pane vanhu vari kuda kudubura hurumende, pane vanhu vari kuita sabotage. Hurumende inogara ichivhundutsira matanho akasiyana-siyana kuvanhu vanenge vachiita izvo, asi pakupedzisira kwezuva hationi matanho iwawo achizoitwa. Saka zvaakuita seshumba inongodzvova isina mazino, shumba inenge ichingovhundutsira. Asi vemabhizinesi vaakutozivawo kuti dzimwe nguva shumba yacho haina mazino, saka vanenge vachingorambawo vachiita zvavari kuita. Asi chiripo chese chekuti chataurwa naProfessor Masocha, vanhu havana vimbo nemari yemuno kuti kana uinayo inokuchengetera value. Saka kuisa mari muma-US dollars kuitira kuti mangwana chinhu chedhora chiri kuramba chichiita dhora, kana pamwe toitawo $20 hatizokwira zvakanyanya tichifananidza nekuti kana ndandine 5,000 mabhondi nhasi, mangwana zvinhu zvandaikwanisa kutenga ne5,000 hatiri izvo zvandokwanisa kutenga.
Thank you so much. Let's now give over the mic to Mr. Rejoice Ngwenya. If you can speak to us in Ndebele, just tell us what's your take. What are you seeing on the ground? Also, beefing up or judging from what Mr. Kuchera has just said, and also Professor Masocha.
Siyanyama kakhulu iqiniso ukuthi izinto azisama kuhle. Uhulumende wethu kukhanya vele kasabamba ngamatomu. So ngathi uyinqola nje egiqikayo engelamtshayeli. Uyabona ungeza uhulumende esisithi yena kulenkinga kulokuhlanya kwentengo thina njengohulumende sesilungisisa izinto sokuphambanisekile. Ngoba umsebenzi wohulumende ukulungisa imali kayiso umsebenzi wohulumende umsebenzi wokusika imarket yiyo elungisisa imali. Kunjalo nje nxa bona also-business dade bengenayo imali yokuyathenga izinto zabo imali yangaphandle kwelizwe nxa bethi bona baqonda emabhenki besiyadinga ama-US dollar engekho emabhenki utsho njalo isikhiphamfundo uqinisile ukuthi bagcina sebengena emsikeni omnyama uhulumende wethu lo uvele sukhanya ngathi sevele siphambaniseke akasakwazi ukuthi abambe ngaphi. Into ekhona kufanele akhulume labantu kahambe koso-business Zimbabwe Chamber of Commerce aye ku-CZI aye ku-Chamber of Mines ayekhuluma ezwe ukuthi bona kanti bengalungisisa njani udaba lwawo inkinga yabo yemali. Hatshi ukuthi uhulumende sengiyethu sethwala uswazi sithi siyatshaya abantu abathengisayo osobhizinisi ezitolo emavinkilini. Akusebenzi njalo ngoba umsebenzi wakhe ngokulungisisa imithetho yokuthi osobhizinisi bazidingela imali zabo bezilungiselela ibhizinisi yabo. Akwenzayo khathesi sokubhidliza nje umsika sabona izinto zakhona dade ziyabe seziphambaniseka. Hatshi kasomsebenzi kahulumende yena kalungisa imithetho kuphela ayibele osobhizinisi bazilungisele ibhizinisi yabo.
If you can just, give us the same thing in English, what's your view? We heard from the column that was written by President Mnangagwa yesterday in the Sunday Mail that, government is going to take stern measures against those that are overpricing. What's your take?
Well, in the first place, Marvelous, once a government takes up a cycle of saying there is madness in the market, we are going to deal with it, then there's a problem. Because the market is behaving like a typical market driven by demand and supply. So whenever the state Marvelous tries to interfere in the pricing, we know that our experience with GMB, that once the state is the one that sets the price of maize, and nobody wants to go farming to farm maize. The ecosystem of market pricing is based on what the market has. The business sector has got the necessary institutions. CZI, ZNCC, the Chamber of Mines, these individuals are skilled enough to sit down and decide and work on these parameters of how best can you manage this process. So the government is behaving like, the decree, the command economics does not work anymore. We know what the problem is. There is not enough foreign currency because the government has not been able to harness the potential and the supply of foreign currency. There's a lot of hemorrhaging. So by interfering, it means that they are eventually going to contaminate the market ecosystem, and what's going to happen is that the goods are going to start disappearing from the market. You cannot run money market by decree. You need to be able to be sober and go and seek advice from the individuals that understand how the money market works. Marvelous.
Thank you so much. Back to you, Professor Masocha. Tombotaura nerurimi rwamai kuti imi semunhu nyanzvi anoona nenyaya iyo yezve upfumi dai maibvunzwa izvezvi kuti chii chingaitwe kuti zvigadziriswe zvamuri kuona zviri kuitika munyika takatarisa nyaya yemari neupfumi hwenyika?
Chandingati chigadziriswa pandechokuti hurumende ngaizvishore kuti measures avari kuisa iwayo, mitemo yairi kuisa iyoyo yakanaka chaizvo mitemo iyoyo, asi haina munhu unozoinda wondoona kuti mitemo yacho inotevedzerwa here. Zvakanyorwa napurezidendi handi zvitsva, tazvinzwa zvegore negore kuti avo vasingazotevedzeri mitemo yehurumende vachanzamwe vakanzamwe, asi hapana chatinoona chinenge chichiitwa, zvokuti unotokashamara uchienda muna mamwe masupermarkets makuru chaizvo vanenge vakatonyora namavara makuru chaizvo rate yavanenge vachishandisa yeUS dollar neZimbabwe dollar, asi zvichinge zvataurwa nehurumende nesimba rapresident kuti vanopikisa zvirongwa zvehurumende vachazenge vachirobwa masoro kana kuti vachisungwa, asi hatisati tambozviona zvichiitika izvozvo. Saka zvinoita izvo kuti vanhu vasachavhunduka mashoko anenge achibva kuhurumende kuti tichaita zvakati nezvakati, nokuti handi kutanga kutaurwa izvo. Saka hurumende ngaizvishore, kuya kwatinoti pachirungu kutora ownership yeproblem, kuti iyi problem yangu ini ndinoisa mitemo yacho handizoindi ndichinosunga vanhu nemitemo iyoyo, pamwe chete nokuzvidzasa humility iyeyi yokuti hurumende ngaizvidzase kuti aiwa apa tatadza, zvatatadza ngatiise musoro pamwe chete navamabhizinesi acho, nokuti kana taakutarisa panyaya dzeufumi hwenyika hapana munhu unohwina hondo yeufumi hwenyika namabhizinesi. Kutaura chokwadi, mabhizinesi akaomeserwa chaizvo, zvinhu zvatinowana muzvitoromo tinozvishayiwa todzokera zvikunana 2007 2008. Saka chii chetinenge tahwina? Hapana. Mabhuku anyorwazve kuti the most powerful force in the world besides religion are businesses, because ndo vane mari yacho. Hurumende yakachona, mabhizinesi vane mari, vakavhara mabhizinesi iwano kuti vaomeserwa, vanogara vachipomedzerwa mhosva, nyika inobva yapidiguka nechekare. Saka kana tichida kugadzirisa zvinhu munyika, tose ngatizvishore, nokuti kubudirira kwenyika kubudirira kwedu tose. Saka hatidi kuzoti panokonekwa toti ningi ndiye unokonewa, asi kana zvanaka toti zvanakira tose tisu tazvinatsa. Aiwa, kufambisa ufumi hwenyika tinozvishora tose, kubudirira kweufumi hwenyika tinozvirova matundundu tose.
Aiwa, tinotenda. Regai tiende kwamuri vamasimba. I understand we have a caller. Saka ndisandauya kwamuri, regai titore caller. Hello caller.
Hello, makadini.
Aiwa, tiri wadi. Tiri kutaura nani, muri kupi?
Muri kutaura na Elias ari ku Cape Town.
Ehe, ya ku Cape Town muri kunzwa nyaya iri mudandaro pari zvino. Tiri kutaura isu nyaya yekuoma kwaita zvinhu uyezve kudonha kwaita mari. Imi muri kuzvigona sei sezvizvarwa zveZimbabwe zviri ikoko zvinotumirawo chikafu nemari kumusha?
Ya, nyaya munotaura inyaya inosiririsa, inyaya inonzwisa tsitsi. Kutaura chokwadi chaiko ndekwekuti shuwa upfumi hwenyika yedu hwadonha. Vakuru avo vanozviti president weZimbabwe avo vangataura havo vachiti vari kugadzirisa zvinhu zvakanaka, upfumi hwacho hwakamira zvakanaka, but chokwadi when it comes to groundwork hapana chakatombonaka zvachose, ende vantu zviziva kuti shuwa hapana chakanaka.
Saka poitwa sei semaonero enyu?
The only solution iripo pasina kutombonyeperana. Vana veZimbabwe ngativhotei neuwandu hwedu tichivhotera bato resiri reZANU-PF. Handi pavandi ipapo kuvhotera ZANU-PF kuramba tichizvipa utapwa mukati meupenyu. Now mukatarisa vanhu vari kunze kweZimbabwe takawanda totomboshaya kuti kumusha kwacho kunombova nanani. Every kona yawasvika unongochingozwa pachitaura vana vekuZimbabwe. Every engo yawasvika unongonzwa pachitaurwa nyaya dzekuti kuZimbabwe. So you'll find kuti iko zvezvo right now isusu vacho vari kunze kweZimbabwe ndisu tiri kutoita kuti nyika iyoyo the economy yainayo, the little percentage yainayo yacho yeeconomica inge iripo, because on a daily basis we send mari kuZimbabwe, we send food kuZimbabwe, we send a lot of things kutovaka chako tiri kuvaka nokuda kwokuti tiri kushanda kunze kwenyika. tichipfumira mari ikoko. And kumaguma kwacho wozoona kuti vanhu vari kutozvitutumadza kuti nyika iri kubudirira sikuita zvakati nezvakati, but pasina chavari kuita.
Aiwa, mashoko makukutu.
Basi inyaya yokuti tichaidza nepose patinokwanisa napo kuti when it comes kunyaya dzema-elections chekuiburitsa ZANU-PF yacho.
Aiwa, tinokutendai zvedu ipo pano nepfungwa dzenyu mukoma. Regai tichibhopa vanyarikani vedu mukana. Tinokutendai, musaore moyo, mopota muchidzoka zvakare mangwana. Muve nezuva rakanaka. Thank you. Vamasimba kuchera, pindai tinzwe, ndandabvunza mubvunzo wekuti, so what do you think is the way forward, looking at how the state of the economy is and the decline of the Zimbabwean dollar compared to the US?
So first of all, we need discussions between government, business, and the morality of the public. We need a new social contract. A social contract that allows government to do its work of regulating, and a social contract that increases confidence in what government is doing. What we are seeing is a total lack of confidence in the measures that the government is taking.
Okay.
I am sure that they are looking at different variables and seeing certain levels of development. But what is clear is that people are not very confident in terms of some of the programs that they are doing. Now we have a digital coin that was brought onto the market. There was not much education that was given to the people on how that will work. So there needs to be two-way communication between government and the people in terms of these new programs, projects, measures that we are taking. So that's the first way forward. The second way forward is to also accept where we are as a country. I know that we want to be an upper middle income economy at a certain point, but we need to also understand where are we as a country. What is the level of manufacturing? What is the level of production that we have?
Thank you there, Mr. Masimba Kuchera. Let me also give a bit of time to Mr. Rejoice Ngwenya to just say his last word before we close off with Professor Masocha. Go ahead.
Well, look, Marvelous, I think the basic thing is that we're a dual currency economy, and the business will always migrate to a currency with a better reserve value, and it is the US dollar. So it's high time we made up our mind what currency we're going to use. If we want to use local currency, we need to find ways of restoring its value, because it's a big issue. Otherwise, this problem is not going to go away. We will need to increase more and more, our source of foreign currency, and our government must be responsible in spending money in the right productive sectors.
Thank you so much, Professor Masocha Chivarisai. Your last word, 10 seconds.
Ndozokuti mameasures ehurumende ngaanyorwe nomutauro wavanhu unonzwisiwa navanhu kuti vave nechivimbo nehurumende yavo nemitemo yemari, nokuti nyangwe vamwe vanhu vanohwisisa nezvemari havazviwisisi.
Thank you so much. And that brings us to the end of our show. Would like to thank all our guests and of course you, the viewers and listeners. Signing off in Washington, I am Marvelous Mhlanga Nyahuye, saying have a very good night.